Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. It's a very intimate group. We'll try to educate and entertain. Maybe we'll walk around and shake everyone's hand and make it very personal. Santhi, very happy to have you. Thanks for joining us, and thank you all for attending. I'm Mike Schott, as Mark mentioned, the head of sales for Volta Media. We'll talk a little bit about Volta Media at some point, but Santhi, I'd love to throw it to you, and maybe we could start out by sort of introducing yourself and Wells. I think most people are probably familiar, but if everyone's not familiar, we talk about the family of brands and a little bit about Wells.
Sure, thank you, Mike. So I lead uh, all of the commercial operations at Wells Enterprises, and for those of you who don't know, we are the #1 manufacturer of ice cream in North America, makers of Blue Bunny, ice cream, Halo Top, and Bomb Pop. I see all of the nods in the room, so yes, your favorites. And in my role, I lead sales, marketing, and innovation to accelerate growth at Wells.
Great, and I know, Santhi, you've only been there for less than a year, so maybe you talk about a little bit about what drew you to the opportunity.
Yes, so most recently I came from Hershey, yes, the chocolate company, as a CMO for international group. And when I came here to Wells, what drew me was the family-oriented, caring environment, and also the opportunity to accelerate growth and provide transformation in an organization that's traditionally built within the Midwest, and to make it a #1 manufacturing company of ice cream in North America. But most importantly, I'm passionate about the agile entrepreneurial nature of the company and how the teams are passionate about winning in the marketplace, and that gives me great energy, and I'm thrilled to see that environment here.
That's great, and I've heard you speak before, and we've gotten to know each other a little bit in preparing for this. And one kind of undercurrent I hear from you is this concept of commercial marketing. I'd love for you just to speak a little bit about your thoughts around where commercial marketing fits in.
Sure, and for context, having been a buyer at Walmart and being a marketer and grown through from a retail environment, the whole commercial mindset is ingrained in me. And it starts from blending the analytics, the creativity, and the on-the-ground implementation or execution. And the blend of those three factors is what I say as commercial mindset. And that's what I inculcate in my teams. And why is that important? It's because anything and everything that we do in marketing has to contribute value to our consumers, customers, and our organization. And that a visible, tangible value is through the financial metrics. So marketing, delivering the commercial value is what this mindset brings, and the integration of analytics, creativity, and the execution mindset.
That's okay. That's spot on. So that's why I feel like it's an undercurrent. So some of the things we'll talk about, and maybe we transition to the idea of brand marketing and performance marketing on the other end, and maybe we speak to how those two relate to one another.
Sure, and they go hand in hand. Brand marketing and performance marketing cannot be separated. And in today's world, while we are all looking to deliver a seamless omni-channel experience to the consumer, we need to integrate brand marketing and performance marketing. And while it's easy to say that, it's more difficult to execute it and implement it. And the opportunity for us is to integrate the brand marketing and performance marketing by blurring the funnel, integrating awareness and engagement and conversion across the touch points. And that's the opportunity for us.
Yeah, I think, that makes a lot of sense, and it is so much easier to say than to do. I think if we talk about each a little bit, maybe on the brand side, the concept of purpose purpose-based marketing. That has such a broad spectrum of meaning to so many different people. And I think because of that, the momentum around purpose-based advertising sort of vacillates, because at some points it means one thing to someone, and then there's a hotter topic that kind of falls under the umbrella of purpose. So can you speak to how you think of purpose-based marketing and what it means to Wells specifically?
Purpose is the underlying current or the guiding post for anything and everything we do. And while each brand may have specific brand purpose, they all ladder up to the Wells purpose. And brand purpose is often confused with brand positioning, and it's not the same. So for example, for Halo Top, the brand purpose is the freedom to indulge well, while the brand positioning is all the taste for fewer calories. Right? So there is a difference. So brand positioning is about being competitive in the marketplace now and differentiating it for the consumer and for the customer. But the brand purpose is longer lasting, and it's a rally cry and drives and engages and creates a meaning and a relevance to pull people in. And it varies by brand, and it guides anything and everything we do.
That's great. Is there another example of purpose for a different brand?
Sure, and we've used it in creative purposes very well as we build our brand pyramid. That is, brand purpose is the highest level of order. And we have been able to execute it very well for Blue Bunny. Recently, and thanks to our agency partner, Stagwell, as well as my team, the teams have been able to understand the brand purpose and bring in consumers to live the brand purpose in our creative execution. So our creative execution is we have fun as a Blue Bunny creative idea was aired. And part of the idea was giving consumers the experience of how we make ice cream at our headquarters, how we make ice cream through our focus groups, through our R&D facility, and bringing the joy and that experience to life. And when we aired that, it was so engaging that Saturday Night Live created a spoof on it. And it was earned media and had a multiplier effect. So the creative execution, when done well, when executed well with the brand purpose in mind, has a multiplier effect that grabs the attention of a broader consumer base and provides meaning and relevance that's longer lasting.
That's great. That's and now let's move together into the spectrum, the performance side. So with all performance, it always starts at the front end with efficiency in targeting and precision targeting. So can you speak a little bit about, I know in the Wells world, in your philosophy, it's a lot of personalization. Can you speak to how personalization factors in?
Absolutely. In a traditional world, for context, we have always been personalization based on contextual or behavioral targeting. Recently, both in my recent past as well at Wells, what we have evolved to is personalizing at a one-on-one level. So what this means is, even though me and my sister have similar demographical, probably similar attitudinal and behavioral situations, we still are different. And what resonates with each of us may be different. So personalization by making sure that for the right target at a one-on-one level, having the right content at the right time, at the right touch point, and at the right location. Too, all of that matters. And we have been able to increase our engagement as well as our conversion levels with such an approach. And all of that ties to, essentially it is addressable, programmed activation at a one-on-one level.
And how does that work? By brand, by generation? Gen Z is different than millennial. Can you give an example, perhaps?
Sure, there are differences, which we have observed, and we have been able to identify these clusters. So I don't want to go to clusters, but by brand, there are clusteral similarities. So one example I can give is for Halo Top, when we were able to activate engagement at a shopper level as well as at certain touch points like social media. I mean, what the message on Instagram is not the same as on Meta for different target sets. And what we were able to do is tie the video activation to banners, to a retail activation, all the way to Instacart, and connect the activation seamlessly so that we are able to track it, measure it, and able to drive results and accelerate growth for Halo Top. And on the flip side, when you talk about generations, we have been able to uncover that the touch points for tweens is a whole different story. So Bomb Pop, for those of you who are unaware, is water ice. So water ice, Bomb Pop, targeting tweens, it's a very growing segment. And this, what we uncovered for tweens is TikTok, as you all know, is the #1 touch point for that particular audience. And we doubled down, tripled down on this touch point to target tweens. And we had a huge success by leveraging influencers in this media and able to engage with them and get content that are user generated in a easy, manageable way that actually spurs engagement as well as conversion, and that's what drives performance marketing.
That's great. Yeah, I like that specific example of how that comes together. I want to shift a little bit, and I want to ask a question that's a little bit selfish or self-serving around the idea of testing and learning. And if I could take a minute, I'll just introduce, for those of you that aren't familiar with Volta, Volta Charging is a nationwide electric vehicle charging network. Volta Media is my team who runs all the advertising on those stations. So they're EV charging stations that aren't waist-high pedestals. Think Link NYC dotting the streets of Manhattan, if you're familiar with those. They're 7-foot tall EV charging stations with 55-inch high-definition screens on each side. And so we work in the context of our partnerships with retailers, either major REITs or the largest traditional grocers across the country. And so we provide this valuable amenity to the retailer so they can pass that along to their customer. And what we get in return is this incredible placement of these screens directly in front of the entrances to where their products are sold, where the retailers and their customers are. So the audience we deliver is actually everybody who's walking into a Kroger or everyone who's walking into a Best Buy, for example. So great contextual targeting there. And so what we've done over time is we've evolved it to make it truly a digital network. And all that being said, and we've had a lot of success with CPG brands because of this large footprint in front of grocers. CPG brand marketers say, well, if you're telling me I could put my ad on a screen in front of someone as they're literally walking into the store where my product is sold, that's going to be great. And so we've taken great steps to measure that, improve the effectiveness. That being said, we're still a challenger, right? We're not one of the big guys, and we still have to. My sales team has to fight consistently for test budgets. And so, in the world of innovation and testing and learning, I'd love to know how you view opportunities, how you make sense of it all, so you don't have sellers just constantly creating a sales loft cadence and pounding your inbox repeatedly. It would help I think for us to hear how you think about that.
Yes, I do get those emails galore.
How do you like them?
So what I have set up as a practice is to have innovation sessions on a quarterly basis so that we can uncover what we don't know. There are always emerging technologies, new methodologies that are coming up. And I've been able to uncover a supplier network in my past experience to build digital capabilities in the organization. Second is to have, in order to foster experimentation, there's a reserve budget that is set up to facilitate the testing and learning. And third, it has to be a KPI for your team members. It has to be a goal. Otherwise, nobody is going to have the courage to experiment and try new things. So foster that experimentation within your team is my advice, to test and learn and have that budget ready for them.
That's great. And how do we approach you? I mean, how do you come to learn about these? I know Stagwell you pay them well to monitor that for you, or in collaboration with you. But what is the way to interact?
So, I mean, of course, we come to these conferences. So that's the biggest avenue for us, and that's the best place to get in touch. And of course, we work through our agency partners to get there.
Great. Okay, I want to switch quickly to the topic of talent. Two things really. In your experience today, the top performers, whether it's with your agency partners or your internal team, what are some of the core competencies that are common among the top performers in your team? And I'll follow that up with looking a little bit ahead to how the role is evolving.
So from a current situation, from what I look for in my marketers is curiosity. And by that, I mean asking the questions of what could happen or why is so-and-so happening. And it's not just about asking, but also about observing the unsaid. And those are the key drivers. That's one driver within curiosity. And related to that is, if you're curious, you also get the learning agility. You need to be able to learn something new and different across various spectrums. What I learned 20, 30 years ago doesn't hold true anymore. And I'm always learning something new, even here. And related to that would be the courage to actually go and implement something that you have learned. And last but not least, the third C, I would say, is communication. My high performers are articulate and have the ability to translate a concept up and down and across, influence the management, as well as bring people along towards this direction. So curiosity, communication, and courage are the 3 C's that I would say for high performance.
That's great. And then thinking in terms of how the role of a chief marketing officer or a chief commercial officer is evolving. What are those attributes that people maybe in the room or that are watching who aspire to reach the mountaintop, so to speak, they should be developing now in preparation to meet that moment?
Sure. Rather than me saying it, I can just share the advice that I have received over time. What I have received advice, 3 things that I was reflecting when you asked me this question earlier. My mentors have said, have a unique point of view and bring thought leadership. And that thought leadership should be something that no one else can bring to the table, and that you're adding value to your organization and to your company. So bringing that thought leadership vision. And the CES and other conferences are great avenues to get inspired and bring that back to your organization. The second aspect, which I alluded to earlier, is about the commercial mindset. In today's world, when the lines are blurring across channels, when the funnel is shrinking, and with the emergence of social commerce, the importance of driving results for marketing goes up more and more. And therefore, having a commercial mindset is key for any CMO, is what I would say. And last but not least, and very applicable to this environment today, is about data savviness. Um, we just talked about personalization, and more data is becoming available with the usage of technology. And how does a CMO harness the data and make it applicable to a business environment will differentiate the future CMO. And over my career, there are two people that have always been my best buddies. One is the business analytics, and the other one is the CFO. So my CFO is always my friend, and be best buddies, and that'll serve you a long time, is what I would say.
I love that. That's not a common answer. That's really good insight, I think. So buddy up with the money people.
Yep.
Great. All right. Well, I'm going to leave a minute for questions if there are any. Before we do, I know there's a lot of excitement. Congrats on the Ferrero acquisition news. One last thought. What are you excited about for 2023? Is there a thought or two you have around that?
Yeah, it is exciting news that Wells has entered into an agreement with the Ferrero Group. And as we close the deal out this month, we are excited about all of the possibilities that will set us up for accelerated growth in a sustainable way for the next 100 years. So we asked America, what are the top categories that bring joy to you? And it was ice cream and chocolate. And now we have those two in one organization, the best of two worlds, with the greatest brands in both ice cream as well as chocolate. And you can imagine all the possibilities that bring together with those brands. So plenty of possibilities, and it's for us to show up and bring those value to the consumer.
My responsibility is revenue for Volta, but maybe we should talk about some barter agreements. I'll trade media for chocolate and ice cream. I'll do
That
some
I
of
can give you. Blue Bunny and Halo Top for sure.
All right. Any questions from the group?
So when we hear CPG brands talk about a data-first mindset or personalization, what are some of the unique things that you think you're bringing to the table, maybe in unison with Egwell, of what do you think is your defining quality of personalization journey?
Good question. And personalization is a goal, and it's an evolving goalpost with new tools and data coming in. But there is a foundation that needs to be built. The first is, yes, having the data. Number two is also having the right partners who can help you harness the data in a meaningful way to get to the consumer. But most importantly, I would say, is setting up the vision first and putting that as a goalpost. If you have that as a key goal, then you will get to the data, you will get to the partners, and put the right people in place to enable personalization and give that mandate to the agency, and they will help you get there. There are a lot of experts out there.
Hi there. My question is sort of tactical, but what do you think and how are you guys utilizing retail media networks? And it's interesting because they're one of the fastest growing segments for sure. So I'm wondering what you think about them and how you're looking at utilizing them.
You're absolutely right. Retail media is growing fast. And in my experience, it has been an effective touch point for us. We have been able to prove that retail media investment has been successful for us in increasing conversion rates, because now we are closer to the consumption point, and the retail media investment, at least at the major retailers that we have had, has been very productive and efficient.
So can I get you on the record to commit to a Nutella ice cream right now? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. But not kidding. But not kidding.
The possibilities are endless.
So one thing, having had the pleasure of working with you for the last 6 months since you've come on board, you've made lots of changes, and change is really, really, really hard for people inside of organizations that have behaved a very similar way for the last 100 years, more or less, right? So
So, from a change management perspective, first of all, having that vision and articulating it to the organization is key. But first of all, getting the alignment from my peers and the leadership team. So, that's step number one. So, if we are aligned, we are all marching towards the same goal, and there's no confusion. Everybody is aligned towards that vision. Second, change is not for change only. It has to serve a purpose. And going back to my first point is, does that add value to the organization in a commercial way? Is there a tangible financial reason that that change will deliver? So then there is greater buy-in. But of course, there's always a question of, oh, we've always done it this way. Why should we do something different? And it's not that I have the answer to every problem, not that every solution that I can propose will be right. It is to test and learn. So the technique that I've used is to give problems with short time frames, sprint models, that we test and learn ideas in very short time frames, and that, if proven successful, we'll invest more money in. And as a result, success is actually contagious in a good way, and success breeds success. Yes?
What's the scale of your innovation lab? Like, is it focused mostly on product development, or is it also experiences and ways to commercialize the product itself?
Absolutely, both. So yes, so we have innovation, product specific innovation that is more internally developed, and there is experiential communication, process based innovation labs, which are externally based ecosystems that we create. So both.
Great. Well, thank you. Those are really good questions. Some of the best I've seen in these fireside chats. So, Santhi, I want to thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and thank you all for joining us. On to the next. Thank you.
Thank you.